The justices spent nearly 2 hours listening to oral arguments on both sides of this issue. The debate largely boiled down to one question: does the word sex in the 1964 Civil Rights Act include millions of Americans that are in the LGBTQ community?
Justice! When do we win? Now!
LGBTQ advocates and conservative groups rallied outside the steps of the Supreme Court Tuesday as the justices took on 3 historic cases that could decide if LGBTQ Americans are protected from workplace discrimination under the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
What happened to me was wrong.
Amy Stevens is the transgender woman at the center of one case. Her attorney, David Cole, with the ACLU, argues that the funeral home owners who fired her for refusing to follow their gender-based dress code violated the law.
All we are asking the court to do is to recognize that transgender people have the same rights.
Back inside the court, the justices wrestled with what the word sex was intended to mean when it was written back in 1964. Justice Ginsburg sided with the plaintiffs, who say it's long been expanded to include sexual harassment and sex stereotyping.
Americans and American businesses should be able to rely on what the law says.
Thomas Rost and his wife own the funeral home. They say they simply followed the existing law.
Now we face severe penalties because the ACLU is trying to change the law out from under us.
Their lawyer, John Bursch, says changing the definition will hurt women in sports and in private women-only spaces like bathrooms and domestic violence shelters.
The ACLU's attempt to redefine sex creates unfair situations for women and girls.
The justices will have until June to issue a ruling.
The justices were clearly divided on this issue. Conservative Justice Neil Gorsuch said, quote, "This could cause a massive social upheaval if the court were to expand or change the definition of sex." For now, in Washington, Raquel Martin, 12 News.